Hello, and welcome to Biblical Scrolls, where we take a deeper dive into the hard to interpret, the obscure, or even the misinterpreted passages of Scripture. We will also look at apocryphal and pseudepigraphal texts and other historical manuscripts. We'll be using a variety of sources, so if you're committed to just one version of the Bible, this channel may not be for you. Now let's dig into today's passage. The passage we are going to be in today is Revelation 12, 1-9. And we will read it soon, but before, I want to preface this video by saying that our theology should come from the biblical text, not from our traditional readings of it. In this example, the devil rebelled with 1/3 of God's angels in the primeval past before the fall of humanity in Genesis 3. Yet, there is no passage in Scripture that records this event. Yet many Christians believe it to be a point of biblical teaching. Only one passage in Scripture uses the term third in connection with language that can include angels, and it's Revelation 12, 1-9. In the ESV, let's read it here. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant, and was crying out in birth pains in the agony of giving birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads, and 10 horns, and on his head 7 diadems. His tail swept down 1/3 of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child he might devour it. She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, but her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, in which she is to be nourished for 1,260 days. Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. The passage clearly identifies the dragon as the devil. Most scholars believe that the stars cast down to earth were the dragon's angels, who ultimately were thrown down. But this war in heaven is not connected explicitly with creation, a time before creation, or the fall of humanity. It's clearly associated with the birth of the Messiah. Since the writer uses messianic wordings for the child's destiny, in addition, the passage says nothing about when the devil turned from God. Also, there are ambiguities in the passage. The actual mention of war comes only in Revelation 12:7, which describes the dragon or the devil and his angels fighting against Michael and his angelic warriors. That raises the possibility that the third of the angels, or the stars, are not the devil's agents, but rather godly angels defeated by the devil and other angels loyal to him. It is an assumption that the battle scene is expanding on an event in verse 4. They could be 2 separate events in the same overarching conflict. In any case, the timing of the heavenly war is not what many believers presume. Yet, the apocalyptic nature of the text means that we cannot be for certain about any interpretations. Yet, as you study the Bible, it's important not to let worn and flawed assumptions fill the gaps of your understanding, especially when it comes to difficult passages. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up. The topics on this channel are difficult and sometimes there's a difference of opinions, but that's okay. Be blessed, be encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video.